Hi, I'm Dr. James LePage. I'll be teaching today's class. If you have a history of legal convictions, either felonies or some misdemeanors, there are some hard truths you have to know about finding employment. And these aren't going to surprise you. Having legal convictions in your history can negatively affect your ability to find the job you want to. It's just the way it is. We can't pretend that it's any different. Now, there are a number of reasons for that. One, some employers have biases against individuals who have been in prison or in jail. The other is that there are jobs that the law says you cannot take if you have a history of legal convictions or misdemeanors. These are going to be some of the things that you're going to have to overcome when looking for employment. What it means for you is that you're going to have to work harder and smarter than other individuals. You're going to have to dedicate yourself full time to finding a job. I'm going to say this again in a minute. Looking for work needs to be your full-time job for you to find that job that you want. Now, I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm not saying this to make you scared, but it is the reality. Now, it's not hopeless though. There's been research done that shows that over 60% of employers will hire an individual with a felony history if it's the right person for the job. And over 65% of employers don't even have policies against hiring individuals with felony convictions. But not all will. Not all employers will hire somebody with that. So as I said, you're going to have to work harder and smarter than everybody else. Now, I mentioned that looking for work has to be your full-time job. And let me tell you what's going to happen. This can happen quickly if you don't dedicate yourself to finding employment. You're going to finish these classes. You're going to watch all the videos. You're going to do all the work assignments. You're going to know what you're going to say. You're going to know how to interview. You're going to be excited. You're going to get out there for a job, to look for work. You are going to put in applications. You're going to get online. You're going to fill out forms. You're going to put yourself out there. And after a week or so, you're not going to hear a lot back because you don't hear back from every employer. All right? And once that starts happening, if it takes a little bit of time before you start getting the response you want, you might start getting discouraged. Once you start getting discouraged, you're going to not want to go job searching as much because it's discouraging. You feel bad about it. So you're going to tell yourself, well, it's Friday afternoon. I'm not going to look for work on this Friday afternoon because nobody hires anybody on Friday afternoon, which is a lie. And then you're just going to do something else. But if you're doing something else and not looking for a job, do you have more or less applications out there? Less applications, which means do your chances of getting a call back in an interview go up or down? They go down, which means you're going to get fewer callbacks, which means you're going to feel more discouraged. And then you're going to feel bad, and then you're going to decide, oh, this job search is so difficult. I think I'm going to take all of Friday off because nobody hires on Friday, which is a lie. Now you're only looking 4 days, which means you have less job applications out there, which means less chance of finding or getting someone to call you back, which means more discouraging. Then you decide, oh, well, I'm going to take a long weekend. I'm not going to look on Mondays because nobody hires anybody on Mondays, which is a lie. And the next thing you know, you're doing part-time job search. You have to be aware of this trap. Your job during the job search phase is job searching. If you want a full-time job, you've got to be looking for work full-time. Now, even though not all employers will hire somebody with a felony, as we talked about before, many will. And though it's a barrier, recent research has actually also looked at what employers want to see in an individual with a felony history before they hire them. And there's 3 primary things they found. 1, an employer will hire somebody with a felony history if that person has the skills they need to do the job. If they can come in and do the job or be trained to do the job, they're willing to hire them. Number 2, if they do a good interview, if they say the right things during the interview, if they present themselves in a positive way, if they talk about the right things and sell themselves, then an employer is more willing to hire them. And the third thing is that if you're able to talk about the positive effects of that felony conviction, if you're able to talk about your legal problems and how you've changed, what you've done since then, the employer is more likely to look favorably upon you and hire you. So, based on that, you're going to need to know what skills you have, what you can do for that employer. You're going to need to know how to interview, and you're going to need to know how to discuss your legal history. So one of the things I encourage everyone to do is make sure that when you're going through this program that you focus on those areas so that you can give yourself the best chance to find employment. Now, one of the things that you also have to determine, we talked about it before, is whether you actually can apply for that particular job. If you think about it, I mean, there are some jobs out there that if you have a felony conviction, you may not be able to get. A security guard might be one of them, all right? Sometimes child care or working in a nursing home, you may be restricted from looking or from getting one of those particular types of jobs. Sometimes, and that could be just globally, it could be anybody with a felony. And sometimes the specific crime that you were charged with may have an impact. For example, if you were convicted of embezzlement, all right, you may not be able to get a job as a bank teller, but you may be able to get a job working in their telecommunications section, or you may be able to get a job working in their HVAC, working on their air conditioning and heating. So a lot of it depends on the specific type of job and the specific type of felony that you had, the job that you're looking for and the felony that you had. So one of the things you have to determine is whether the kind of job that you want to get is the kind of job you're able to get. And there's two main ways to do this. The first, Google it. Get on Google, type in jobs individuals with felonies cannot have in the state of Texas, or whichever state you're in. All right? You're going to have to dig a little bit. It's not like there's a big master list, but you will start to find lists of jobs which individuals with felony convictions can't take. The second is call employers. All right? Get a list of employers who do the kind of work you want to apply for. Call them up, ask to talk to the person who's in charge of hiring. It could be the HR person, it could be a manager. And just ask them. Talk to them and say, "Hi, I'm interested in getting a job in operating a forklift. However, I've got a felony conviction. I was wondering if I'm even able to apply for these types of jobs." All right? So, you're going to get some weird answers. You know, some people will go no, or some people might just hang up. But if you call a number of employers, you're going to find out what the answer to that question is. So it's important that we start by looking at the kind of jobs you're applying for and whether or not you're legally able to take those jobs.